welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be running you through exactly what I'm doing on my vision board for 2026. And I thought I'd do this video as a bit of a rundown on what I'm doing that is different and mistakes I do not want you to make. So grab yourself a nice hot drink. I've got a hot chocolate and let's get straight into it. The first thing I actually want to say has nothing to do with the visuals or the aesthetics of your vision board, but actually taking action. It is currently Saturday, the 20th of December, and it is 5 p.m. and I'm recording this video. That is because one of my goals for next year is to actually be consistent on YouTube. It is to build a bigger community. It's to connect with you guys more. So what I'm essentially doing is I am already putting in the habits and the actions and the behaviors to make that a reality. Just because it is 2025, it doesn't mean I have to leave my 2026 goals for 2026. The moment that you create that vision board is the moment that you literally get to step into the version of you that you need to be to achieve these 2026 goals, okay? The second thing I wanted to go through is there's a huge difference between a vision board and a mood board. Usually with a vision board, what can happen is we can put on loads of aesthetic photos that just look good. I'm sure you know what I mean, right? Vision boards tend to be fonts, colors, quotes, cars, apartments, just your like stereotypical, yeah, like this is what life is gonna look like. And that is great. I have nothing against that. But pretty pictures without behavioral anchors are not gonna work out for you. So let's say, for example, health and fitness. You get this woman with like dream body, or like this woman who's like in shape, or whatever you wanna name it, right? You get a picture of this woman like activewear in the gym. You're like, yeah, like this is the year I really get fit. That's nice aesthetic. But what needs to change for you to get there? How does she eat? What's her morning routine? What time does she wake up? It's nice to have the photo, but for that photo to exist, the behaviors have to change. Go back, watch my previous video for you to really understand this. So don't just put up that photo, actually write about or think about what actually needs to change in your life to make that happen. And if you're like, I really want this body, but you have no idea how to get there, who do you need to hire? Who do you need to speak to? What actually needs to change? Because otherwise you have this mood board of life looks so good. For that vision to become real life, we have to make changes in order to become them, right? So actually what needs to change, think about the behaviors that need to change. I wrote down on this point is the brain needs to know what I do differently, because a vision board should reflect how you live, not just how life looks. Ask yourself, what would my days actually consist of if I were to achieve this? Or if I were to live this life, what would my days consist of? So the next mistake I see is people putting on goals that do not match their identity. So let's say, for example, you are putting up a goal of your income being like 10x what it is right now. Let's say you're saying in your bank account, you're gonna see 10K months. Nice goal to have. However, I want you to check how that feels in your body. The second part to this is remember that your brain is going to prioritize feeling safe rather than expansion, right? So if you're putting up these goals of like 10K months and you're on 2 or 3K right now, your brain and your body are going to keep you safe, are going to keep you here. So what you want to do is break up that bigger goal into smaller parts, but also you can put that number on your vision board, but on a piece of paper, decide how you're going to make that happen. How are you going to get this number in your bank account? How can you break it down to make that figure feel more safe for you? And the reason this is so important, especially when it comes to money goals, is your nervous system will basically determine whether you make that money or not. If you have an internal belief that you do not deserve more money, if you have a limiting belief that money is bad, if your nervous system doesn't actually feel safe holding more money, it's not going to come into you, okay? Because remember, we don't manifest what we want, we manifest what we believe we can have. So when you're putting these like 10x goals on there, no matter what it is, money, relationships, actually check in with yourself to see how it feels. Now, something else that I want to speak about is I'm not doing a yearly vision board. I'm not mapping out the whole of 2026. I've decided this year I'm going to break it down and I'm going to do it first half of the year and then second half of the year. Now, the reason I do this is I tend to upgrade my life quite frequently. And at the moment, I'm in a bit of a transition. The reason I'm breaking the year up in two is actually for a couple of reasons. First of all, my birthday is in June, and I feel like Jan until June is a really good amount of time to achieve certain goals that I have. The other part of that is Parkinson's law. A task will take the amount of time you give it. If you say it's going to take 3 days to clean your house, it will take 3 days. If you say it's going to take 3 hours, it will take 3 hours. So the goals that I want to achieve, rather than trying to set them all the way for 12 months and then getting towards September and going, oh crap, I said I was going to achieve this, I'm actually going, okay, 2026 in the first half, I want to achieve this, this, and this. To be honest with you, I've given the first half of the year quite a lot of focus, career, on my health, my wealth, and actually making sure that I have a solid foundations with that. I do not know what I want in the second half of the year, and that is okay. It's okay. I am someone who believes in intuition. And the reason I mention this is it's okay to not be doing what everyone else is doing, right? Someone is doing a 5-year vision board, cool. If someone is doing a yearly vision board, cool. If you want to do 3 months, cool. If I want to do 6 months, months, cool. It's whatever it is that you want it to be. Times you can just fall into the trap of doing what everyone else is doing, or, you know, thinking it has to be a certain way. But I promise you, you have to just do things that feel good for you and what you believe you want to focus on. Now, another point I want to make is you want to make sure that the photos that you're using are realistic to you. I was actually looking at my Pinterest and I had this 2024 vision board. I went on it and the photos honestly were not women that had my complexion, were not women who have the same sort of home as me, were not environments that I actually wanted to put myself into. And that made it really hard for that to come into my life. It wasn't something that would ever actually match my sort of reality. So when it comes to these photos, make them realistic to you. Have it as women who have your complexion, have it as women who have a similar body type to you, have it with people that have a similar sort of home to you. So if you have a house which is, let's say, in the countryside, don't have photos of an apartment in the city unless you're planning to move into the city. Similarly, if there's certain things that you know you want to do but you're not 100% concrete on what that actually looks like, get a bit of a generic photo. So next year, I don't know what my travel plans are. There's a couple places I know that I really want to go. There's also a couple of places where I'm like, not sure if that's like the definite destination I want to go to. So rather than putting up photos of a laptop on a beach in Bali, photo of me in Australia or whatever, I'm just gonna put a photo of like an airplane or of the airport to represent travel. But it doesn't have to be a particular destination if you are not sure on that destination. Allow it to be a bit broad if you're someone who can trust your intuition and that's how it works for you. On the other hand, you know that there is a place that you really want to go and like that is the dream. You're like, this is the year that I make it happen. I don't care if I go nowhere else and I'm going to this place. Cool. Get those specific photos, right? Even go on ChatGPT and actually putting you in the image. The more that your brain is actually going to take this on as like, this is form of reality, because your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a visualization and what is reality. So actually, if we can get you in the vision board, that would be even better. Alongside this, something that I'm doing definitely on my vision board is I'm actually using photos of people that do inspire me. When I'm watching some people's YouTube videos, I literally screenshot the YouTube video because I just think I want to be like that. I want to have that habit. So I screenshot it and I keep it. Now it's on my phone, but I'm going to put it on my vision board to remind myself of how did I feel when I watched that video? How do I feel when I watch this person? What is it that this person does that I want to bring into my life and how can I actually bring that in? People like Tam Core, M on the Brain, they are the two that come to mind right now, to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure about others, but actually having those people on my vision board, not because I want to be them, but they do embody different parts that I want to basically bring into my life. And finally, which is super important, you really need to start thinking about, okay, cool, if I say that I want this life, which is like the big life, because obviously a vision is there to stretch you, what actually needs to change, right? For example, in 2025, I said that I wanted more travel, connections. The reason that came true is I put myself in rooms where I allowed it to become true. So I went to events solo, especially one in Paris, which was a networking event with female entrepreneurs. That's where I got more connections. And in terms of travel, I went to Dubai, I went to Paris, I went to Marrakesh, I have been to LA. So I really have actually put myself in the position where I can make these things possible. Another example of this is, let's say you are someone who like really wants to do skincare next year and you're like, I really want a really banging morning or evening routine, and you get photos of these women in like face masks and LED masks. I just want you to ask yourself, is that really what you want, or is it what you feel that you should want? Because I look at those photos and I think that would be so nice, and you know, maybe one day, but you know what, it's not a priority for me. I love my morning routine right now. So I'm not saying just don't put these photos on it, but actually, is that where you want to invest your time and your money and your effort? Are you willing to actually get the LED mask to spend your evenings like that? If that's not what you want to do, don't put it on there. Don't create a vision board which is like wishful thinking. That'd be nice, maybe one day, maybe towards the end of the year. Think about what you actually want to change and what you want to manifest into your life, because that is the most important thing. The one thing I want you to take away from this video is there really is no right and no wrong, but there is a difference between a vision board and a mood board. If you want your life to change next year, you have to think about what changes you are willing to make. Prioritize that happening, what needs to change, right? And then actually mapping out the vision based on that. So not think about, okay, what is the outcome that you want, but what are the small things that are gonna make that outcome happen, right? Maybe what changes are you making in your business? What needs to be different? Like what do you need to overcome? What life are you actually stepping into? And I really hope that does make sense for you. And the other part of that is, again, just making it for you, whatever you want it to be. Make it specific to 2026. Make it specific to the life that you want, and it has to be things that you're willing to change and you're going to change no matter what. Again, in 2026, not one day, someday. In 2026, I am changing my habits, my behaviors to get towards this vision, because things have to change. You can't just be who you are now and assume that who you are now is going to get that vision. She ain't, otherwise you would have got it already, right? So again, actually making sure that we're matching that vision with the identity shift. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please drop them to to me either on my Instagram DMs or down in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.